Welcome back to episode 193 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm back. I'm here with Troy. What's going on, Troy? How are you, buddy?
Not a whole lot going on. We had a game tonight for my son's baseball. We made it one inning, and then the skies opened up and dumped water all over us, and we had to delay the game or suspend it. We will pick it up at another time. Who knows when?
It's rained a lot here in Minnesota.
Yeah, stupid.
Green Grass Club. Everybody's in it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like this at your house, but our shrubbery, if that's the word for it, has exploded here, and everything needs to be trimmed. It's just been crazy.
Yeah, we've had the shrubbery, but we also have my wife fixed all the spots in the yard from the dogs. So we had to till and put down seed, and then the fiber company that laid fiber internet had to put seed down for all the stuff they ripped up. And so we didn't mow our yard for 2 weeks because we were letting all the seed grow, and it got long. It was crazy. Yeah. We looked like, I just said we were going with the all natural, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go natural and just let the wild grasses grow because that helps the environment, but whatever.
It was like that kind of cool girl with the armpit hair in college, right? Where you're like, I don't know if I dig it, but I understand it.
I finally mowed it. I was like, this is enough.
I missed last show. We had our good buddy Phil, the loud collector, filled in.
Yeah.
He did awesome. I really enjoyed listening to the show on Monday morning. You guys did a great job. It was a very busy weekend here. I have a high school graduate. So now I have a
young Madigan.
Thinks he's an adult, more like a kid. We're going through all those fun transitions that I'm sure a lot of you have already been through. It was an amazing weekend, though. Lots of family. Took a step back for the hobby for a few days, which I think is good for all of us to do every once in a while, at least in my opinion. And then got back into it, went totally bonkers, bought way too many cards, as we'll see in personal pickups today.
Awesome.
All right, we do have a lot to get to. And before we get started, Troy, we got to remind everyone that we are a Patreon podcast, which means we rely on the support of listeners like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, produce more and, well, we hope, better hockey card content and fun initiatives, even in a small way to grow the hobby. It's very easy to support us. You can join our out of $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. It starts at $5 a month. You get access to our Discord server as well, and have people joining almost every week there. A lot of great conversations that go on. We're going to have a winner of a sealed box of 2021, the Cup, pretty soon from our 5K challenge, which will wrap up in a few weeks. So that's pretty cool. Very easy to support us. Just go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on a podcast app, or in our YouTube description as well. And then finally, in our Instagram and TikTok profiles, we have Jay Terrace, who joined our one out of 199 club from our last show. So thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate you and your support. And with that, Troy, you ready with the game plan, buddy?
We begin the show with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 93, and it's going to be kind of a deja vu. Then it's off to Hobby Deep Dive, and this time it's a special Stanley Cup's final edition of Hobby Deep Dive. We then take a look at Hobby News. This is followed by a look at if we are on the edge of a McHobby explosion. Take that how you will. We will get to that in a bit. Then it's off to new product releases. We end the show with some of our favorite hockey cards in the current PWCC Weekly Auction and any personal pickups. Okay, Josh, we previously looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number, matched our episode number, ran through all the numbers, so now we are looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners-up in the Hockey Writers' Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article. The almost greatest NHL player to wear number 91. Nope, not 91. Stamkos is going to haunt me forever. I keep leaving him in. Number 93 for the nominees in the Hockey Writers' Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article, and selected by me is Ryan Nugent Hopkins. There he is.
There you go.
And like I said, it feels like we've talked about Nugent Hopkins a lot recently, but we got to stick to the bit, and we will learn some more about Ryan Jeremy Noel Nugent Hopkins.
Wait a minute.
I think that's Jeremy. His middle name is spelled Jarromie, right? It's not Jerome. That's Jeremy, isn't it?
I think, is that like when parents try to get too cute with the name?
Maybe. But that's what it said. That's what Wikipedia told me, so I'm going with it.
He's got almost as many names as our boy Willie Nylander.
Yeah, it's true. He's got a lot. There were no other runners-up at number 93. As a reminder, the greatest toward number 93 was Doug Gilmour.
Yep.
Now, let's hope I don't mention any more of Stamkos' numbers or stats like I screwed up last time and read off Stamkos' goals and assists and points as Rick Tockett's goals and assists and points. And a listener called that out pretty quick in the YouTube comments. So I appreciate it.
I think you've been beating yourself up kind of about that.
Oh, I was mad because it's one of those dumb mistakes. It's like, and even it's dumb, but I should have realized Rick Tocchet was not a 500 goal scorer, and I'm just going along with it. Like, I mean,
in the pantheon of dumb things we've done, though, Troy, that I don't think that's anywhere near the top 10.
True. Okay, our boy Nugent Hopkins, forward from Burnaby, British Columbia, Canada.
Burnaby.
Nugent Hopkins was selected first overall in the 2011 NHL entry draft by the Edmonton Oilers. Nugent Hopkins has played in 881 regular season NHL games over a current 13-season NHL career. Nugent Hopkins has played his entire career at the Edmonton Oilers. For awards and accomplishments, Josh, 0-time cup winner, but that could change, baby, as Edmonton is in the cup finals versus Florida. So we will see. We will see how that goes. You got one side, the hobby wants McDavid, want Draisaitl, get them their cup. And then the Florida people are just going to beat their heads with a frying pan because they don't want that. They want their team to win. So we have fans. We have friends on both sides. Yeah.
About the Nuge. If Edmonton wins a cup, do you think he's a candidate to be the first to hoist?
Yeah, sure. I mean, McDavid's the captain, right?
Sure, but doesn't the captain kind of like defer typically? Remember, like they let Ray Bourque.
Yeah, but that's because Bourque was his first time in like 22nd year in the season or something. I think McDavid would go over, grab it, hoist it, and then give it off to whoever. Probably Draisaitl would be next, right? Or else.
Oh, I don't know. I think the classy play would give it to the Nuge.
All right, give it to the Nuge. We'll see. I like the Nuge. That'd be a good idea, though. All right, back to the Nuge. We haven't got to his nicknames, and we're already calling him his nickname. Named to the 2011-12 All-Rookie Team. One-time NHL All-Star Game selection. All right, his stats. 251 goals, 448 assists, 699 points in his NHL career. Nugent Hopkins has made the playoffs in 6 of his 13 NHL seasons, compiling 16 goals, 43 assists for 59 points in 67 playoff games played. Best regular season of Nugent Hopkins' career from a point standpoint was his 22-23 season, where Nugent Hopkins had 37 goals, 67 assists for 104 points in 82 games played with Edmonton. Nugent Hopkins, during his rookie season, scored 52 points in 62 games and finished second to Gabriel Landeskog for the Calder Trophy. He was also named Rookie of the Month for the first 2 months of his rookie season. You know who didn't accomplish that feat, Josh?
Who?
Connor Bedard. He wasn't named rookie his first 2 seasons. Bedard was only named Rookie of the Month in his second and third months in the NHL and his 6 months. So whatever. But anyways, Nugent Hopkins.
Like the NHL PR Twitter, Troy. You're kind
that's of like I'm starting it. I'm starting my NHL, my fun fact Twitter. That's just gonna have way more asinine stats than them. All right. During his career, Nugent Hopkins has been a consistent 40 to 70 point producer until he decided to go nuts in the 22-23 season and score over 100 for the first time.
Yep.
All right. I like this picture. I like that jersey. Currently, as previously mentioned, Nugent Hopkins is still in the NHL. For the 23-24 regular season, Nugent Hopkins had 18 goals, 49 assists for 67 points in 80 games played. In the playoffs so far, Nugent Hopkins has 6 goals, 14 assists for 20 points in 18 playoff games played.
It seems like he's played forever, doesn't it?
It does. But I guess when you're number 1 overall pick, you're going to be in the news, good and bad, right? Oh, you're not producing, you're not living up to expectations. And then he finally gets 100 points, and now we're all going crazy. But then he kind of fell back to earth this year. But we'll see.
He's only 31.
Yes. So we got a couple of years left.
Mm-hmm.
So why does Ryan Nugent-Hopkins wear number 93? This is our first fun fact. Well, he likes Doug Gilmour, and it was the year he was born also. So he's got 2 reasons why he wears number 93. But we have a random fun fact, Josh, that I threw in here. Only one other player in Oilers history has worn number 93. This player played 982 NHL games and scored 310 goals. However, it's kind of a trick question because he only played 35 games with the Edmonton Oilers over 2 stints with the team. I'll give our listeners a second to think about it because I had no clue who it was until I looked it up. But it's this guy, Josh, Peter Nedved. I was a huge Nedved guy, and I love this picture because I don't even think it looks like him, but it's him. That's what the caption told me.
The Reebok helmet, you dig that?
Yeah, I have a Reebok hockey bag still from a coaching bag that I got when I first started coaching. So I got some love for Reebok. Okay, back to Nuge. His nicknames, as we have said, the Nuge, Skunk, RNH, and Rocky. Skunk, I hope he doesn't stink.
Yeah, I wouldn't love that. It has to be because you smell bad, right? Or either that or you got like a white streak in your hair, and I don't think he has a white streak in his hair. So I'm going with he smells bad.
Or else there's some other meaning that we're not cool enough to know.
Dirty.
Yeah. All right. Nugent-Hopkins reached 100 points during the 22-23 season on April 5th, 2023 in a game versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. With Nugent-Hopkins reaching the 100-point mark that year, Nugent-Hopkins joined McDavid and Draisaitl with 100 or more points. This feat meant the Oilers were the first NHL team since the 1995-96 Pittsburgh Penguins with 3 players to score 100 or more points in a single season. How about that? Phil would have went nuts. That was way too long for me. Phil would have got mad at me for reading this so much. But the other 3 for Pittsburgh were Yager, Lemieux, and Ron Francis. Oh, and Josh, listen to this. This is how confident Nugent-Hopkins. This is how confident he was after he reached 100 points. So he gets asked, like, what'd you think? Did you think you were going to reach 100 points? He clearly stated, "I never really thought I'd get it, to be honest." Wow. Yeah. Way to have confidence in yourself.
That's like the thing, though. We always want these guys to not give the cookie cutter. I gave 110%. I want to thank my team. I want to thank God for the effort. Yeah. No cliches. And then we also seem to get onto them like when they give real honest answers too. So I appreciate the honesty, Nuge.
I want to be more cocky. I want to be like, yeah, I was going to get it. What do you think? All right. Nugent-Hopkins was the 6th player in NHL history to get his first 100-point season in his 12th season or later in his career. He and Steven Stamkos were the only players to achieve this feat in 50 years.
Wow.
So I didn't even go back and look at the way old people that did that. But all right, Nugent-Hopkins scored a goal in his first NHL game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. He also scored a hat trick in his 3rd NHL game. This set the record for the earliest career hat trick for a first overall pick. Yeah. What you think of that?
That's what's more of Troy's NHLPA Twitter right there.
There you go. Last one. On November 19th, 2011, Nugent-Hopkins recorded 5 assists against the Chicago Blackhawks, becoming the first 18-year-old in NHL history to do so.
Wow.
Just think how excited Edmonton must have been. Like the first 5 games, this guy's just going bonkers and scoring like crazy. They're like, yeah, we made the right pick. I mean, he's been a good player, don't get me wrong, but
never really panned out to be that superstar.
Yeah, agree. Okay. His rookie card, Josh. Now, it's a 2011 Upper Deck Young Guns, number 214. I don't know what series. I can't remember. PSA 10 pop, 296, gem rate of 62%. I don't think that changed from last episode. So we talked about Nugent-Hopkins and Troy's fun facts last episode. Everything is literally the same. I even went and looked it all up, but I will repeat it for everyone in case they did not hear that. Last sales card was for $229.99 US via eBay, verified in Terapeak on May 24th of this year. However, like I said last time, I'm kind of wary of that sale, as the previous 4 sales in May were between $118.85 US and $165 US. But like Phil said, maybe there was just one sitting out there and someone really wanted it, so they went for it. So that's definitely one one thing that could have happened, or else someone was being weird, but I don't know.
That is a pretty awesome Young Guns picture, though. I mean,
Yes.
look at him. You don't see a lot often where they're doing a celly.
Yeah.
And then he's totally got some Penguins guy that was like,
He's like
diving for
stepping
the
on
puck,
him.
just like celebrating right over him.
Yeah, that's a great
I
one.
really dig this card.
All right. That's our boy, Nugent Hopkins.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember you talking about him last show. It was during Fun Facts?
Yeah, it was during Fun Facts. I can't even remember what the crazy fun fact was, but it was something that Nugent Hopkins did.
Yeah, they're all playoff related, right?
Yep.
Okay, we go from talking about the Nuge, who's going to be squaring off in the Stanley Cup Finals, to our Hobby Deep Dive, where we're going to do a Stanley Cup Finals edition, Troy. We're finally here. The Stanley Cup Finals will start at some point. I mean, seems like it's a month from now, but
it seriously, if it goes 7 games, it gets
it's going to last a month.
July. It gets close. It's like a week before, but it's like, come on, NHL. You can't be going into like July or getting close to July.
Well, imagine for like the if it does go 7, these guys are not going to have any off season.
Yeah, I know.
Because they usually start training a month and a half or 2 months before they're going to have like a couple weeks off. That's pretty. I mean, I don't think they would complain, especially if you won the cup, but not a lot of time to rest. That's for sure. So we've been doing our weekly deep dive on our Thursday show, where we like to highlight players that are making an impact so far, and we've done the postseason. But given it is the Cup Finals, we're down to just 2 teams. We thought we'd pick 4 candidates, 2 each from Edmonton and Florida, for this week's deep dive poll. We're not going to review the candidates because I didn't update it. So we've done a bunch. Just go back and watch old episodes. But this week,
look what I did.
You did it.
Because I didn't see the recap and the thing. So I went and I photoshopped me writing Laffy.
And you spelled Laffy wrong.
I know I did. I couldn't remember if it was EY or Y or whatever. So I just did that. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's updated. There it is. Laffy's at it.
191. Oh, that's classic. Love that. We should do everything like, well, we pretty much do. Total gong show this is. Okay, so this week, Troy, we have 4 players that we have not yet done a deep dive on. Threw up an Instagram poll. So the candidates are Stuart Skinner, Stewie Skins, Matthew Tkachuk for about the 4,500th time in the poll, Officer Bob, Sergei Bobrovsky, and the Nuge. No, that would have been awkward.
Nuge. Yeah, that would have been weird.
Nuge been the Hobby Deep Dive.
We'd have had to figure something else out.
Yeah, like we could have just like started your greatest player over again and ran it twice or something like that. But I guess lucky for us, with 40% of the vote, Troy, Matthew Tkachuk finally gets her done. I think he only gets interesting in the Stanley Cup Finals to people. That's my new theory. Pretty good margin here, 40% of the vote.
Yeah.
Stewie Skins comes in second with 25%. So that, of course, makes Matthew Tkachuk this week's Hobby Deep Dive. He is a 26-year-old forward for the Florida Panthers. Pretty good size, Troy. 6'2", 110 pounds. Originally hails from Scottsdale, Arizona. He's one of us in one of the growing list of American-born, I would call, impact players in the NHL. I don't know about you, but I've kind of always wondered about the name Tkachuk. Because like when we first started, like that was one of the, we had to learn how to spell it.
Yes.
This show and got that down. And it's been in the back of my mind, like, what nationality is this name? Well, I found it out, Troy. It is a Ukrainian surname. It means the weaver.
Ooh.
Whatever that means.
Makes sense. Well, it's probably no weaver, probably like a sewing, or that was probably the job of their ancestors. Like,
yeah, maybe. He's the older brother of Senators captain Brady Tkachuk and son of Keith Tkachuk, Big Walt, as they call him, who played 18 years in the NHL. His sister Taryn, she either plays or played field hockey at the University of Virginia. She might have graduated. Don't really know about that.
She's probably the best athlete out of all of them. That's what
sure.
all the brothers always say that.
Mm-hmm. I know nothing about field hockey, like 100% nothing. Do you know anything about that sport? Like what the rules are, how it's played?
It's crazy. They bend over really far and they got the curvy sticks. I do know something about field hockey, though. I believe I'm wrong if I get the school wrong, but it might be North Carolina is really good. they had a player that was like all world, greatest field hockey player ever. She graduated, and what did they do? She graduates, they name her the head coach. What did she do? Leads them to another national title. I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina. I'd have to look it up again, and then I also know that field hockey reminds me of bandy. If you ever watch bandy, it's
don't know what that
basically
is.
Field hockey on ice.
Oh, interesting. I don't even think it's on the radar here for Minnesota sports. Like, is there a single like field hockey program that you've ever heard of?
There probably is, but I don't think it's a high school sport. I think lacrosse took over all hopes that field hockey had. I think field hockey is a big East Coast kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Growing up, Matthew spent a lot of time at the rink where his father played in practice. They said they drop him off at like 3 years old. And at that time, his dad was dealt from the Coyotes to the St. Louis Blues, and the Tkachuk family, of course, relocated to St. Louis, where Matthew and Brady essentially grew up. He attended the 6th through 9th grade at a Chaminade college preparatory school. One of his classmates, Troy, was none other than Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics, who, of course, are in the NBA Finals, starting this today as well.
This is where I go. I don't know who Jason Tatum is. I lose all basketball cred. I don't know who that is.
He's a top 10 basketball player in the world. You can actually find old videos of those two goofing around together in school if you look hard enough. What I think would be cool if they both win the championship this year, if Tkachuk brings the Stanley Cup and then Tatum brought the Larry O'Brien trophy back to the school like on the same day or something like that. I think that'd be kind of sweet. While growing up in St. Louis, Tkachuk played youth hockey for, it was like a junior Blues team or something like that.
Yeah.
I love it how the mouth guard is still
got the mouth guard out.
How many of those do you think he goes through a year?
Oh, probably just because it's got to be like one a game, right? I mean, those things are pretty tore up.
Dog snot out of it. Yeah. We played for a junior St. Louis Blues team. They played in that big Pee Wee tournament in Quebec each year. Teammates, though, for Matthew Tkachuk were Clayton Keller, Logan Brown, and Luke Kunin.
Interesting. It's a pretty stacked team.
Yeah, pretty stacked team. After 9th grade, Matthew left St. Louis, Troy, to join the U.S. National Development Program in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He'd spend the 2013-14 and 2014-15 seasons at the USNDTP, which is, again, another one of these like 9,000 letter acronyms. I want to start at like, do we need to pass a law in the U.S. and Canada both to make that illegal? Because it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, I always have to think long and hard about what the whole name of the USNDTP is, but
United States National Development Training Program.
Or is it?
Do you need the T? Do you really need the?
I always thought it was National Development Team Program, but training makes sense too. So.
Oh, okay, you might be right. Who knows? In his second season with the USNDTP LMNOG whatever team, he led them with 96 points in 65 games played. Also, in his time with on that team, he played on a line with one Austin Matthews. Plays Pee Wee hockey with Clayton Keller and is on a line at the U.S. National Program with Austin Matthews. There you go. It's not too bad. Well, in the 2013 OHL priority selection draft, Matthew was taken in the 4th round, 64th overall. Troy, by your favorite OHL team, the London Knights. They're kind of like the OHL powerhouse, right?
Well, they're one we hear about all the time with really good players.
He had also committed to play for Notre Dame, which is weird. He must not have ever heard of the Gophers, because why would you commit to Notre Dame and not the Gophers?
Now, this might have been, when would that have been? I wonder if Lucia was the head coach. No, I think Lucia was with the Gophers then. I can't remember. Lucia used to be the head coach of Notre Dame, so I was wondering if he was head coach then.
But in 2015-16, he chose to forego his college eligibility and went to London to suit up for the Knights. He'd play only in one season in the OHL. It was a pretty good one, though, Troy. Scored 107 points, 30 goals, 77 assists. That was good for 5th overall in the OHL in points. He was named to the OHL's first team All-Star. Played on a line there with Mitchie Marner. So all we need now is for like William Nylander to be his best friend and John Tavares to be his uncle, and the Leafs circle will be complete here with Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah, I got 2 questions. So he played with Mitch Marner. I wonder how many times did he see Mitch Marner just watch a guy skate by him and not backcheck and get scored on?
I don't
That'd be
think
cute.
Tkachuk would put up with that. He's
I
kind of
don't.
feisty.
Second thing, if you're watching on YouTube, this picture, you know what this looks really similar to is Connor Bedard and how he pulls that puck in super tight to his body to release it, and goalies don't know what's going on because it looks like he's going to shoot the puck off to the way left side. And I think Bedard's a righty, right?
Well, what you're looking at here, though, Troy, this is the game-winning goal.
Is that the game-winning goal?
In overtime,
nice.
When the London Knights won the Memorial Cup.
Nice.
So that's a big feather in his cap. The following summer, Matthew would be selected 6th overall in the NHL entry draft by Jeremy Lee's Calgary Flames. Heading into the draft, here's kind of the scouts' consensus on Matthew Tkachuk. Noted for his physical play, willingness to play gritty, hard-nosed game. Obviously, he's lived up to that in the NHL.
No.
Not afraid to engage in battles along the boards in front of the net. Every scout talks about hockey IQ.
Yeah.
Have we ever honestly profile the player where it's
has no IQ? I know no hockey IQ.
Skates kind of like bored with that whole hockey IQ bit.
Yeah, well, we had the one guy that was what they said when they released him on the ice. He was like a puppy gone wild. So I bet that doesn't mean you have good hockey IQ.
To go with his aggressive play, he has obviously really good offensive skills. He can score a lot of points. Competes at a very high level. Like a lot of competing him. His skating was not considered elite, but sufficient. And some scouts he believed that would improve. And then leadership and intangibles. So he would end up going right into the NHL. Started the 2016-17 season with the Flames. Made his debut right on October 12th, 2016. What a great photo, huh?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like if my kid played in the NHL, I'd love to have a photo like that. In his rookie season, scored 13 goals, added 35 assists for 48 points. Not too bad. Finished 7th, though, on the Calder voting. AM34 was your Calder winner in 2016. Also, though, during his rookie season, Troy, we started to see some of what I'll call like the Tkachuk hockey heel come out. He was suspended for 2 games in March 2017 for elbowing Drew Doughty of the LA Kings. You remember this play?
It's Drew Doughty. Yeah. I don't like Doughty after he went after Kaprizov. So
no, he's been a total punk.
He deserved this, even though this was 6 years before he went after Kaprizov.
Tkachuk knew it was coming.
Right? Yeah, he knew it. It's like Mallrats. This is for Brody.
After the play and Tkachuk's suspension, here's what Doughty had to say about Matthew Tkachuk. He's a pretty dirty player, that kid. To be a rookie and play like this is a little surprising. I'm sure he'll learn eventually, but he's a pretty dirty player, plain and simple.
Yeah, Doughty's a saint. I forgot.
Yeah, thick from
Hot kettle black, right?
In his second NHL season, he would be suspended twice. Once for a brawl against the Red Wings in November, and then in December, he was suspended again for spearing the Maple Leafs' Matt Martin. Still, though, the next season, the Flames named Tkachuk the alternate captain heading into 2018-19. In total, Troy had ended up playing 6 seasons in Calgary, culminating with a 104-point effort in his last year with the team in 2021-22. Of course, his first 100-point season. So after that year, when Flames teammate Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey, announced he would not resign as a free agent with the Flames, it sort of started a domino effect, I think. I believe at the time Tkachuk had a year or so left on his deal, and the team was going to make him a restricted free agent. And they started, you kind of do that, make that play as a way to start negotiations. They talked for a bit, and that summer in 2022, he basically told the team that even if I stay and play out my contract, I'm not going to re-sign a long-term extension to be here. Yeah. So that was really the catalyst for them to look for a trade partner, and they ended up trading him that summer to Florida in exchange for Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, and then a prospect, Cole Schwint. Big time advantage, I would say, to Florida for winning that trade so far. In his first 2 seasons with the Panthers, he's led the team to the Stanley Cup Finals now twice. He had career high 109 points last year. That being said, though, some of the antics, Troy, have continued with the Panthers. Now, I think you got to remember this one. In November of 2022, he was suspended for 2 games for basically hitting Kings goalie Jonathan Quick in the face with his
Yeah,
stick.
I remember. That's where he put like that, put the stick like through his
Yeah.
whatever, the cage, and kind of gave him a jab.
So yeah, no, I think he's been suspended 3 times total. This season, his production dropped a little bit with 88 points, just 26 goals, coming off back-to-back 40-goal seasons. He had a really slow start, kind of very similar to Ovechkin. By January, he had 5 goals or something like that. One of the theories, other than maybe just started slow, was, if you recall, he broke his sternum in the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and I think it was a significant injury. And I remember us covering at the time that that's an injury that does not heal overnight. So maybe that contributed to getting off to a little bit of a slower start. If the Panthers get it done this, I guess, month, as we're calling it now, however long these Cup Finals last, Tkachuk could be the first Tkachuk family member to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup. His dad didn't do it, and Brady, of course, hasn't won one in Ottawa yet. But we'll get into his hobby in a minute. But just overall thoughts on Matthew Tkachuk as a player?
He is my typical, you hate him if he's not on your team, but you love him if he's on your team. And, you know, don't get suspended so often, but I like the little nastiness and the ego and the machismo that he gives off. It's kind of fun to watch. Just don't go spearing people in the face. Poor goalies.
Yeah, there's no dirty plays, cheap shots. There's no place for that, of course. But I love the hockey heel aspect to him. What was he doing in the playoffs with leaving the ice? Or
where he like wanted the last one off or something, and
just doing like really kind of punk stuff and being a total agitator.
Yeah,
I love that. He does, like, he's known for face washing. Where do you kind of?
Oh, that's.
You think that?
I laugh when that stuff happens because it's not like, it's just annoying. It's not like, how I say this, it doesn't blind you or anything, but it's kind of funny at times.
Again, the whole Jonathan Quick thing aside, which was not appropriate, but he's also known for being kind of a dink to the goalie in front of the net, to basically, again, playing that agitator role. And you're right. It's the kind of stuff that makes you absolutely hate him when he's on the opposing team and love him when he's wearing your team's sweater. And what makes the Oilers series with Florida so fascinating to me is you have all this skill in Edmonton and just a street fighting, kind of brawling, they're going to hit the living crap out of you, Florida Panthers team. And so to me, like, that's what the series comes down to. It's like they're going to hit them endlessly, and whether or not the Oilers can stand up to it and can survive it, essentially, I think will play a large part of who comes out on top. I really think, too, the NHL needs to play up the stuff that, create that drama, right?
Yeah.
It makes watching the games a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick look at Tkachuk's hobby market. He's a 2016-17 Young Guns. PSA 10 pop count is 1266, 61% gem rate. Last one for 153 US on June 4th. Up about 7% in the past 2 weeks, 16% in the past 3 months. All-time high, Troy, $300 set last May. So that last cup run.
Yeah.
If you recall, in May, there was kind of a Tkachuk hobby moment.
Yeah.
Just over a year ago. Hasn't really been the same market since. Then we'll look at the top 5 highest selling Matthew Tkachuk cards to date with each's respective top sale. Of course, any eBay sales are verified as paid for in Terapeak. So number 5 was just the other day, a couple days ago. June 2nd, a 2016-17 Young Guns exclusives out of 100. PSA 10 sold for $1,431 US. The number 4 sale is a 2016-17 Upper Deck Ice Premiers RPA out of 10. It's a BGS 9.510. Sold for $1,500 US in March 2023. It's a terrible picture, but I think this card is really cool. It's a 4-color patch.
Yeah.
Which this is, I think, my favorite of the group that we're going to go through. Number 3 sales of 2018-19, the Cup Shield Auto 101 Raw sold for $1,998 US in September 2021.
So much wrong with this one. Hey, please autograph my face. That's a great spot for the auto.
I don't love these. I think I would sell something like this and buy a card I like more.
Yeah, I mean the shield's awesome. I get it. They have to make the shield big and everything, but I hate how the auto's across his face.
I really don't like to when the profile of the player doesn't include at least a little bit of the brand, because it always looks like kind of like a Leaf card or something like that. You know, sorry, Leaf, but number 2 highest Tkachuk sale is the Cup, the show rookie autograph PSA 10. So for $2,000 last May.
I've seen these pop up a lot more on different like Slap Sharks and I believe PWCC too. So I was curious to see this one.
They're nice looking.
Yeah.
Because you got such a big space for the auto. I'll say again for like the 4,000th time, to buy this card, you really have to trust the grade, because this is a $2,000 card, and this is the photo of the front.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I like the carpet in the back, or the whatever that is. The tablecloth.
It looks like a chair cushion, doesn't it?
Yeah, it might be. Oh, it might be at your grandma's house.
Yeah, grandma's Davenport, right? She would call it. All right, number 1 sales of 2016-17 Young Guns High Gloss out of 10 raw sold for $2,103 in June of 2023, so last June.
So great picture.
Yeah,
high quality.
Yeah. I like the high gloss for this year too. Like the foiling on it looks very nice. Overall, Troy, when I think about the Tkachuk hobby market, I think it's like one of these like higher end PC guys. I don't think at this point he's going to get to the Austin Matthews, Hobby Chase, or Jack Hughes, anything like that. I don't know. Do you agree or disagree?
Probably. I agree on like Matthews for sure. And Jack Hughes, I don't think he'll catch. Hughes has been kind of nuts a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I think Tkachuk at his moment. We'll see what happens. Maybe he wins a cup and it kind of bounces again, but it's I don't see him getting up to AM34 level.
Yeah, and I think a big thing that comes with that is the consistency, right?
Yeah.
If they win the cup, you'll see a big spike, but then go back down.
Yeah.
All right, Troy, there we go. Matthew Tkachuk Hobby Deep Dive. Another one's in the books. Got to make a quick mention for Gongshow and partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. We, of course, are very thankful to them for their support of our show, helping make this dumpster fire possible. The current Slab Sharks Weekly eBay auction is live. Ends tonight, Troy. Of course, there's thousands of cards available to bid on, just like every week with Slab Sharks. Maybe this week I'll read the listing titles, actually, and understand what I'm buying. It's asking a lot for me, though. Oh, you know what came today? There
it is. 1,156% over comps.
I'm calling this, Troy, a luxury reprint.
There you go. I like it.
Makes me feel better about it. There it is. Will you be bidding on anything this week?
Yes, I have some bookmarked.
Okay. Slab Sharks, incredibly popular, keeps growing amongst Canadian hockey card collectors. I think amongst is one of my favorite words to say. I try to say it all the time. And it is so popular because they make it simple to sell your cards on eBay. Troy, they do it all. Consignment's really like a concierge service for eBay, I think. You just drop off your cards, send them to Slab Sharks team, and they do all the rest. They take the photos, complete the listings, answer buyer questions, hunt down payment from winners, ship cards to both the US and Canada, Canadian buyers, and handle any post-sale issues. Plus, your cards are listed in their auctions, which are definitely becoming a thing. Well, that's cool.
I totally missed this last time. I should have. It's a lot that's available for Slab Sharks. Look at this. Look at all these autographs. Right now it's at $200. Bob Nystrom, Boom Boom Jeffrey, Gary Cheers. Wait, why did I show this? Hold on.
Don't buy it.
Yeah, don't buy it. It's not that good. Look at this. This is fantastic. I love this. Oh, Chico Resch and the Colorado Rockies. Yes.
There you go.
Awesome.
Lots of eyeballs each week on Slab Sharks auctions. Of course, they built also and launched an amazing portal and app for you to sign up with and get amazing insights into their auctions and your cards, whether you're buying or selling. So head to slabsharks.com, sign up for their portal, download the Slab Sharks app from the App Store or whatever Android people do. I don't know. So, all right. I haven't said this in like a few days, Troy. Happy news.
Happy news.
You had a valiant attempt, by the way.
I know. It was. I said it and it didn't come out right, and I was just like,
You gotta commit. You gotta go all in with it, man. Well, we always start our hobby news with Road to Infinity. Listen to the last show. You updated us on all the new Bedard Young Guns PSA 10s. So we got back on track a little bit, some solid growth to the Connor Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10. Was up to over 3,200 and counting. Now, originally, I'd predicted it would be as many as 5,000, I think, by the end of June. I don't see that happening, but 4,000 maybe, Troy. I don't know. Could be a possibility.
All right.
And again, our contention is that in short order, this will be the most graded and highest PSA 10 pop count card for any hockey card ever.
Yeah, we need EPAC to come out soon.
So our last update, Trey, we're at 3,238 Young Guns PSA 10s. And as of the most recent PSA 10 pop records, PSA 10 pop reports, PSA pop report. Oh my God. As of the most recent PSA pop reports, we're now at, drum roll please, button bar, 3,316 PSA 10s, an increase of 78 since Monday. Interesting, Troy. There's now only 6 hockey cards that have more PSA 10s than the Bedard base Young Guns.
Oh.
Those would be, of course, number one would be the Kaprizov Young Guns with 5,191. Sorry about that.
Yeah, close behind though. This surprise. Have these two been as close as this?
No, previously? I think Jack Hughes catch up. Jack Hughes 10 Young Guns behind Kaprizov.
Take that, Kaprizov.
5,181. The Yager 1990 OPG Premier 3,719. You got the Matthews Young Guns 3618. Mo Sider 3390, and then Stutzla at 3370. So it won't be too long, maybe by the end of the month, before Bedard is in the number 3 spot, and then he'll have some work to do to eclipse both Hughes and Kaprizov. 7,220 have already been graded by PSA.
Did you hear my crazy? I don't know if it was crazy. It just really surprised me that 91% of the Connor Bedards that are graded by PSA are a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
And so that just, I don't know why that's, I don't know. Maybe that's not.
That's like right from pack to grading.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah. Maybe.
That doesn't surprise me.
All right.
Gem rate is up to about 46%. So there you go. Road to Infinity. Have you heard of the curse of the President's Trophy?
So I haven't until I saw this graphic, and then I was like, "That makes sense."
You got to credit Full Send Hockey on their Instagram. I saw this, caught my attention. So according to the data or the infographic, the absolute last thing you ever want your team to do is win the President's Trophy. Right?
Yeah.
Now the President's Trophy, of course, is awarded to the team with the best overall record in the regular season. So this is great news for all us Minnesota Wild fans, because for reasons that should be obvious to everyone. We're not ever going to win the President's Trophy.
No, we win
not
the 500%, or whatever, 500 win percentage, or else a couple games above 500 is where the Wild usually go.
We're going to win the Tony Mediocre Cereal Bowl, whatever. All right, so here's what this information is telling us. In the past 11 consecutive seasons now, dating back to 2014, 0 teams that have won the President's Trophy have even made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, let alone won it. Only 2 teams, Troy, the Rangers this year and the Rangers in 2015, even made the conference finals.
Isn't that nuts?
So in the 9 other cases, the President's Trophy winning teams lost in either the first or second rounds.
Well, last year, the all-time winning versus the record Bruins for most points, and they didn't even make the cup.
Lost in round 1.
Didn't even get out of the first round to Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bring on Florida. They wanted Florida. Oops.
So the takeaway to me from all this is the most important part of the regular season is just to get into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's not to win necessarily the President's Trophy, because once you're in the playoffs, of course, anything can happen. And most people would point to, as far as like benefits of why you'd want to win the President's, is you get home ice advantage, but I'm not even sure how much that matters anymore. And there's some things too, like in the NBA playoffs this year, the home teams have like stunk.
Yeah.
Where I think people are wondering if it's almost more of an advantage at this point to be on the road.
Be on the road.
Just because you get away from family.
Yeah, get away from everything. I think it's
stuff
just
like
teams can be built different, right? You can build your team to win the regular season or to win the playoffs, and I would choose the playoffs. And hot goalies can come into play here in the playoffs. I mean, even bad goalies, but a lot of different factors in a short period of time that can happen. It's pretty interesting.
Well, it gives us hope because, like I said, here in Minnesota, we're not ever winning the President's Trophy.
No.
Okay. I saw this also. Now, this is from Gongshow Discord contributor Cigar Scott. So thank you to Cigar Scott. And again, getting more and more stuff from our Discord, which is awesome. Everybody's contributing. So, Troy, the first 4 overall picks in the 2014 NHL entry draft are all participating in the Stanley Cup Finals. So in 2014, Florida had the number 1 overall pick, selected Aaron Ekblad.
Okay.
Then Buffalo took Sam Reinhart with the number 2 pick, followed by Leon Draisaitl at number 3 to Edmonton. I think the only reason Draisaitl didn't go higher at the time, Troy, is he hadn't met McDavid yet.
Didn't bump him.
No.
Well, I saw some
with that chi from Connor McDavid.
I saw some crazy video today. I didn't have the sound on, but it was like the 2015 draft class or first 4 picks meeting Jeremy Roenick in the locker room. No, Patrick Kane in the locker room. It's just funny. McDavid looked like, 2 years old. He's like, oh.
Then the number 4 overall pick in 2014 was Sam Bennett, who went to Calgary. So we have 3 of the top 4 play for the Panthers, and then you have Draisaitl for the Oilers. Ekblad, Reinhart, and Bennett will, of course, I just said that. We'll take on Draisaitl. I know you are wondering, Troy, but in 2014, the Wild selected Alex Tuck with the 18th overall pick, who we didn't need. Of course, we made him available to the Golden Knights in the expansion draft. We also passed on Pasternak and Adrian Kempe with the 18th pick too, because why would we want those guys on our team?
Yeah, so we had Tuck. We only had him for a year, it looks like, and we're like, I mean, he didn't show that much promise, I guess, in his 6 games with us. So we let him go. And
huge sample size.
Yeah, big sample size. What's he do? He goes, 37 points and then 52 points, 20 goal scorer. It's like, all right, and then now he's a Buffalo. What, he got 36 goals 2 years ago. So Wild don't need scoring, so we get rid of people. We
trade everybody.
And they all do well somewhere else.
Yes.
Kemper, hey, you want a cup? Go for it.
Okay, so if you were to redraft the first 4 picks in 2014, Draisaitl would be number 1.
Yes.
I assume Ekblad would be number 2. Are we on the same page there?
I think so. Ekblad's a D, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm not very good at evaluating D.
But then you have Reinhart and Bennett. So I think I'd go Draisaitl, Ekblad, Reinhart, Bennett. Or would you do Draisaitl, Reinhart because Reinhart's scoring, then Ekblad, Bennett?
Definitely. I think Bennett would be my bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would put Bennett in 4th place there. How about that?
All right. Yeah. It's kind of cool, though, that shows that maybe GMs do a little bit what they're doing. Yeah. Even though, half those guys are traded.
That's true.
Okay, I saw this. Now, this is not news. It's not. I don't know. I just had to bring it up because it kind of blew my mind. Again, I think from Discord, California Dave sent a tweet about a card that was made in 2008. Topps money cards. Had you ever seen these?
I have seen when you said California Dave. I'm like, he probably wrote in and was like, hey, I got a great idea. Why doesn't Upper Deck go out and find a bunch of Yager bobbleheads and then include those as a redemption? And I'll hold on. I got a bunch. I can sell them. I have not actually seen these until I saw this video.
Okay, so we know Fanatics has been doing a lot of innovating. We've had taco fractors, MLB debut patches, baseball players putting their cards in their pockets while they're playing the game.
Kevin Hart showing up.
Kevin Hart, Kevin Hart. But maybe Troy Topps has always been an innovator, and it's not just the Fanatics influence. Here we wanted to give Fanatics all this credit. Now again, Gongshow Discord member California Dave sent us this video back in 2008. Topps produced a basketball card set called Topps Treasury, where they had rip cards. But instead of having the mini card inside the rip card that we typically see, you rip the outer card and there was money inside.
Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to play a little clip. And I got the I'm going to turn off the volume, but you can see. I'll describe it for the listeners. I feel like he's going to rip the back of it. And on the back, it says like something about the money, but there's money in this thing. $1,
cash
like
money.
10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 1,000. And he pulls out
$20.
a $20 bill. So there you go.
Kind of disappointed, I would think. Interesting idea. I have a lot of questions though.
Yeah.
Well, number one, do you like this idea? Would you love to see like Upper Deck do something like that with a hockey card?
No, I think putting money in a card is dumb. I would rather have another card.
Yeah, me too, because it makes it seem like a pull tab.
Yeah,
essentially, and more gambling than. The other thing that blows my mind about this is the whole $500 and $1,000 bill. I know they exist. Have you ever seen a $500, $1,000 US
pictures? Never seen one in person.
I haven't either. And isn't that weird? Like, do these actually exist? Like, if you took a $1,000 bill to Best Buy to buy a TV, they would laugh at you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I'd probably here. We're gonna say this is what I found on eBay. McKinley's on it. William McKinley's the president. Now I'm assuming this is real. I have no clue. Oh, sorry. Now that I didn't show it on screen, but there it is. William McKinley.
$500.
Yeah, it's the $500 bill.
What are they selling it for?
Being offered for $2,500 US or best offer. It's like $2 bills, right? They're worth $2.
You selling a $500 bill for $2,500?
Yeah, but
it's crazy.
Rare and currency, and sometimes like serial numbers matter. I used to watch a lot of Instagram reels. I don't know how one popped up and it was so fascinating. Like these guys that sell currency, and then also that would look through all their pennies that they find, looking for those special,
like a buffalo nickel, something like that.
Kind of like that. Yeah, they look for these where
wheat pennies.
Minted. Yeah, wheat pennies too. Yeah.
And then what are the quarters that were actually made of silver?
Oh, I don't know.
I think those are worth something. Yeah. I agree with you though. I don't love the concept. Our last little hobby news thing. This blew my mind the most. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say NBA salaries are cray.
Cray. Speaking like
so,
kids.
Check this out. A little bit of backstory required here. The NHL salary cap this season was $83.5 million US.
Mm-hmm.
Now NHL teams can have up to 23 players on their roster, so the average, basically just by straight average, NHL salary would be about $3.6 million per person. Of course, not a bad living. And this past season, Nathan McKinnon made more than any other NHL player, taking in $12.6 million US. So remember too that the $83.5 million is just the cap for the season. Yep. As an example, Anaheim spent the least on player salaries last year, forking over just $40 million US.
I was waiting for like $560,000.
$73.92. Okay, all this is the backdrop to talk about another post I saw on Bleacher Report. So Troy, apparently the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, now you've at least heard of him, right?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He will soon be eligible for an extension, the largest NBA Supermax agreement in NBA history, which will be estimated at 5 years and only $346 million.
Ain't a bad living.
That's $69.2 million per year.
Before taxes. People forget about that. I still know it's a lot amount, but you basically have it after taxes. So we'll say like 35.
What will he do to get by, Troy?
I don't know, man. Go see our friends at Card Ladder, I guess.
Yeah. Staggering, to say the least. So there's a huge salary discrepancy between the NBA and the NHL. He'll make almost double what the Ducks paid their entire team last year. Then I got down this whole rabbit hole, right? So if Nathan McKinnon's contract was in the NBA, he'd be the 68th highest paid player in the league. He'd be the 94th highest paid player in Major League Baseball.
Oh, that surprises me.
The 53rd highest paid player in the NFL. It kind of makes me wonder, Troy, if we could actually have, I hate even saying this, but a player strike on the horizon. And here's why. Because when you look at the total revenue for the league, it's just about half of the NBA. So the NBA last year was like $9.5 billion. The NHL is $4.5 billion. it makes you feel like, based on just straight percentages, that NHL players might be pretty dramatically underpaid compared to athletes and all the other major sports.
I
Again,
don't know enough about this to have a great opinion, but is it just because, like, let's look at basketball, because their rosters are so small?
The roster of 15 compared to 23.
Okay, so it's not that crazy. And what really surprised me on your, did you read these off? Sorry, I was looking something up. Did you read off the 5 leagues and how much they make, and where the
I didn't read them off. Like, the National Football League is 19 billion, which is nutty. Yeah. Again, the NHL 5 billion. So the NHL is almost 4 times smaller than the NFL. But the NBA one really, I think, is kind of the closer comparison at 9.5 billion. Major League Baseball is 10.4 billion. And then the EPL, the English Premier League, is 6.4 billion. NHL,
that's the one that I was looking at, is EPL. But if you added all of FIFA in, man, I bet that's over the NFL by far. Like the German leagues and whatever, the South American leagues. But I don't know. Like I wonder how much the Canadian dollar plays into this, and those economics. And
but like 5 billion in league revenue is not bad.
No. And the split is the split 50-50, or is it 51-49, or I can't remember what the split is in the NHL.
It's got to be worse than because the NBA I think is 50-50, and if you got guys making 70 million, and the highest paid NHL player is 12 million, come on.
Yeah, there's something goofy that there's got to be something I just don't understand, which I completely is probably the case, because
and again, we're talking about collective bargaining. We're talking about rich people versus super rich people here, so nobody's going to throw a pity party. But I just, again, I bring it up because I'm wondering, it's like, at some point, are these NHL guys going to be like, okay, this is ridiculous?
Here we go. The current contract expires after the 26th season.
You know how fun this show is going to be to do during a strike? Okay.
Strike or lockout, right? It can be either one.
Troy will go on strike too.
I'll show solidarity with the players.
All right, that's Happy News, Troy. We're going to move on to dig a little bit deeper now into the Stanley Cup Finals, and kind of think that we might be on the verge of what I'm calling a McHobby explosion.
All right.
You like that?
Let's hear it.
Connor McDavid, Troy. Ever heard of him?
I have.
Good. He's closer than he has ever been to the Stanley Cup. I think many, many collectors are now sitting at the edge of their seats, starting this upcoming Saturday when the first game of the Stanley Cup Finals is scheduled to take place. I'm going to tell you why I'm most happy about how this is shaken out first, before we get into the McDavid thing. I got to mention, I think we all needed a big hobby story or something to get excited about that is not Connor Bedard. Bedard-a-Palooza is great. I love it. It's been a really long run, though, at this point, and there's only so much focus you can put on a rookie who scored like 20-something goals, no matter how good he is. Do you feel that way a little bit, too? Are you getting a little, like, Bedarded out?
I was Bedarded out on the NHLPA Instagram site on whatever new crazy Troy-like record they could think of for Bedard. That's where I was kind of getting burned out. And then he got injured, and so there's a little bit of lull, and
And it'll come back right after the Cup Finals, and we're gonna have SB Authentic come out, OPG Platinum, some of the big 2023-24 sets, and all the excitement will be right back for Bedard. But I am feeling a little bit of Bedsy fatigue, and I think other people might be feeling it too. So it is nice to have something else to capture our attention a little bit, and so I think as long as the Oilers are competitive in the Cup Finals, we're gonna should have some fun kind of following the Bedard market during the series, which, like we said, could basically last for the next month. And if they win, we could see some pretty strong Bedard sales over the summer. So there's a lot of like questions I have, and we'll kind of get to those. But what I thought we might do is start and see like if anything's going on already, like what's happening since the Oilers clinched the Western Conference Finals and bought their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals. So McDavid, Troy, his 2015-16 Young Guns PSA 10 popped 2,888, 47% Jeremy last sold for $2,741 US on June 4th.
Yep.
It's up 7% in the past 2 weeks. Nothing crazy so far. Still down 9% in the past month, which is sort of really interesting. I mean, it's one of these cards, though, that, as we know, it fluctuates between like $2,400 and $3,000.
Yeah, there's that band, and it does not move. It just goes up and down, right through it.
All-time high, though, Troy, $4,080 US from April of last year, which is weird. It seems like weird timing for that. Maybe like beginning of the playoffs. I don't know. So right now we're basically like $1,300 off that all-time high. I'd also assume that the pop was a little bit lower last year, of course, when we set the record. Okay, so here's question number one. If the Oilers do win the Cup, what are the odds do you think we see a record sale for his base Young Guns PSA 10?
Boy.
Like, it would have to go above 4,080.
Ah, man. I'd say 40%.
Yeah, I'm going 55.
Okay.
So to me, it's not a slam dunk
No.
at this point that it's a record sale. Now, okay, next question. Let's say you own this card today.
Yes.
Would you consider selling it right now with the idea that even win or lose 3 months from now, the hoopla will die down and there's a decent chance you could buy it back for less?
Probably not, just because I know the range it's going to be in. It's not going to. I would probably wait and hope he wins the Cup and then sell.
Do you think there's a permanent bump to his hobby market if he wins the Cup?
Yes.
Like what percentage would he?
10 to 20%, I would say.
Yeah, I was thinking 10% too, because I feel like winning cups is somewhat baked in. It's sort of like the Ovi thing where getting the goals record, I believe, is kind of baked into his pricing too. So what's your play right now if you own this card?
I would hold it. If he wins the Cup, I sell. If they don't, I'm fine.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into I guess I'm going to give some general thoughts on buying and selling. You can, of course, chime in too. So I think one of the things that's going to happen over the next week or two, we're going to start to see the big guns come out.
Yeah.
So there's guys that have had very special, rare rookie cards that haven't seen the light of day in a long time. And those are going to start to hit the secondary markets, the auction sites, right? Because these guys are smart. They've waited for this moment and to make them available, and are probably in some cases ready to cash in. So this is a time that if you have deeper pockets, you really want that rare rookie where you might have to pay that premium to get it.
Mm-hmm.
The commodity cards are the ones that we've talked about a lot in the show. This is the time to sell, not to buy.
So you count the Young Guns there, right? You would sell.
Oh, of course, yeah. The rule of thumb I think that I would use is if you have a card that you could buy next week or even within the next month.
Yep.
I would sell it and cash in. Like I said, even if they win the Cup, if you ever wanted an example of this, go look at June. What would it have been? June of 2021, right after the Avalanche won the Cup, and how crazy everything Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon went.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, it was half.
Yeah.
And they didn't think, right? It's just all the excitement and hype was gone by that point. So that's what I'm doing is if I own cards that, again, I know within a month I could find another copy, I'm probably selling them. And it kind of gets back to, right, because the problem with that is that a lot of people are going to want to participate in all the hoopla and all the excitement. But one of the things I think that has really solidified for me, Troy, in the last year or so is that if you want to make money on cards, and what I mean that is like buy cards that appreciate in value, that are worth more than you paid for them, patience wins the day.
Yeah.
It's learning to buy cards that, and I'm not going to do it because it just happened, but I've got a really good example of this for personal pickups for Monday, where I bought a card that I wanted right away when a set came out like a year and a half ago. And this was an insert, and they were stupid expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like $500, $600, $700.
What, this
and
your highlighters?
Don't hurt my feelings. No, it's different. I think it's a card that you're going to like too. I got it for $41. today.
Nice.
I still like the card as much as I did a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to pay $700, right? And so I think patience wins the day. If McDavid does win the cup and you want to participate in that by adding a nice card to your collection, if it is of these commodity cards, meaning where there's a print run of where it's readily available, wait. And it's just like we're doing with Bedard, right? We talked about this. There's probably Bedard cards each of us will have, but we're just waiting for all the hysteria to calm down a little bit first. Buy low, sell high. So, Troy, in the 4 days since the Oilers won the Western Conference Finals, 784 McDavid cards have sold on the secondary markets. That's using Card Ladder sales history. I looked at the previous 4 days because it's a small sample size. The 4 days prior, though, only 521 McDavid cards had sold. So that's already a 50% increase.
Yep.
And doesn't surprise me. So what happens to the McDavid hobby market if he wins? I think we both agreed probably like a 10%, maybe you said up to 20% bump. Nothing like crazy. What I do think it does, though, is it removes any doubt, of course, that he won't get it done. And I think that even the most confident people, Troy, they have to the very smallest degree even.
Yeah.
In the back of their mind, man, like feel like, I'm holding on to this $100,000 card, and what if he doesn't win the Stanley Cup?
Nope.
So it would solidify him, I think, as an all-timer as well, right? I mean, he's like at that point.
Well, a lot of people told us he wants to be a GOAT. He better win a cup.
Mm-hmm. Anything else that you think happens permanently to like his place in the hockey world or the all-time list? Anything like that?
No, I think he's pretty solidified, but the cup does put him into that GOAT conversation because that's like the one knock on him. And this is the thing you just never want. How many times do we have to hear about so-and-so, but you never won a cup? They always put that at the end. Like Hank, right? Henrik Lundqvist never won a cup.
You don't hear about him. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
The Marcel Dion's and all that stuff. Now, I think the more interesting thing is what happens if he doesn't win the cup?
Ooh,
Do we start to hear the doubters get a lot louder? I think so.
They will, and it will be amazing because, like, what's the one thing we rip on Edmonton is their goalies, and the goalies have been all over the place, but now Skinner is kind of playing well, so we'll see what happens. But it's like they're always that will be like the way to come back. Like, well, he doesn't have a defense or a goalie, whatever. But yeah, the haters will definitely get loud if they can't pull it off.
Skinner's played very well, but I don't think anyone is going to be shocked if he totally falls apart. No. And that is, to your point, that is a way that the Oilers could lose the series. I think his market this summer, if they lose, will take a little bit of a hit. So it might be good buying time if you're still a believer in McDavid, especially on the top end of the market. I don't know if they lose this one. He's not super old, but he's not very young either.
Not a spring chicken anymore.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to want to spend that $100K on a McDavid card coming off a Stanley Cup Finals loss?
I don't want to spend $100K on any card.
Some might still will, but
yeah,
I think it would be a consideration.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Are you expecting the market just to be crazy over the next couple weeks for his cards?
I think so. But I hope he scores like goals and he's not still the assist machine.
Mm-hmm. Again, I think the earlier you can sell, the better. It's probably a little bit too late at this point, but if the people that timed the 7-day auctions to end on Saturday or Sunday, those are probably the peak McDavid selling times. And we'll be watching the sales very closely, but I think that the volume will be 50 to 100% higher over the next couple weeks, and that we'll see a lot of record sales. I mean, is there a bigger moment in his career from a hobby standpoint?
No.
Even last year when he had, what do you have, like 160 points last year?
Yeah.
But they've crossed a very significant milestone getting the Stanley Cup Finals. So
yes.
I don't know. Do you have a prediction for the series?
I'm saying I wanted to go 7, so I'm going to say Edmonton at 7.
Mm-hmm. I want Edmonton to win for the hobby. My guy Leon, I want to get him a Stanley Cup too. I think it's very, very good for the hobby for McDavid to win a Stanley Cup. But I don't know, man.
I know
The
Florida
Panthers
just is so good.
suck to play.
It's so tough to play. They are just Officer Bob. I know. Maybe I went with what I want to happen rather than what will actually happen. But
If you're on the Florida coaching staff, do you think that part of the strategy is to just hit McDavid all the time?
just get in his face. Yeah.
Just drive him crazy.
Yeah. You just got, anything to
Frustrate
take
him.
him off his game. Because I haven't watched McDavid that much, but is he one of those guys is he Michael Jordan where he gets roughed up and he's like, you know what? Watch me show you this, and this. Or I don't know how he reacts to some of that stuff.
Part of that can be, to get somebody mentally frustrated and out of focus, but it also wears you out too.
What about, you want to go to the WNBA and Caitlin Clark
Clark, oh my gosh,
getting beat up and she is not responding well. Like her play is definitely
that's ridiculous. Though that is it's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I saw it on Sports Center, so I'd bring it up, I guess.
So, and again, I think too the last thing I'll say on this, Troy, is that we got to enjoy this kind of things. Like, these are sort of these hobby moments can be very fleeting at times, but it should be a lot of fun. Like I said, I expect the next couple weeks to be crazy. Like, I'm sure on Monday's show we'll have some big time sales to talk about. All right, we're gonna move on to new product releases. So 2023-24 Synergy came out today. It's been a minute since we had a new hockey release. It's like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that since Trilogy. I really wish that Trilogy and Synergy weren't back to back. We're like the G part of the 2023-24 release calendar, right? Trilogy, Synergy. Based on our last show with Phil, I don't think he picked up any boxes of Synergy. Boy, I had to laugh at that one. Either. Not a fan, Phil is of Synergy, but of course we're degenerates on the show, and I'll kind of admit I sort of low key like Synergy. Seems like I'm in the minority for sure, Troy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like any of the cards are going to replace a Future Watch Auto or anything, but we picked up a box to check it out. So from what I recall too, you weren't a big fan of like what you called like the curtain effect on the cards. Yep. Is that right? Is that how you put it?
I put that. I called it the curtain, and then Phil called it the pillow.
Mm-hmm. So I got the box today, opened it for a pack opening video series on Instagram. Be sure to check those out. So here's my take. I didn't get to chime in last show when you and Phil did your review. If you're not a Synergy person at all, like if you're out on the product, I'm not sure there's anything in this release that, other than maybe the fact that Connor Bedard's in it, that'll make you like it. That being said, if you're already a Synergy fan, or you're kind of on the fence, or you've been warming up to it a bit, I do think you will like their release. I think it's the best version of Synergy to this point, and I only have the information up of one box, so I did watch breaks again today and got some feedback from some breakers too. But that curtain design that you're talking about, Troy, definitely see it. That's like a subjective thing, right? So you're either going to like it or you're not. What I really like though is the foiling on the rest of the card, like in hand, that really pops.
Yeah.
There.
And I think we being both Phil admitted to that. We think that these cards probably do look a lot better in person than what a picture can do. Now that I look at the curtain effect, it also looks like a book to me. If I had the pages open, it turned it horizontal, kind of looks like a book.
I think that the little acetate window with the foil team logo is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Once you get that like see-through effect, it's a little bit better. But again, that's a design thing. It's a taste thing. From what I've heard from breakers, Troy, there's been in like an auto in every other box or something like that, and I think 5 to 6 Bedards in per case too. Not sure if that's like an official kind of figure, but I thought it was worth passing along. And then where I think that Synergy really made a big step forward this year is on the insert sides.
Okay.
again, these probably aren't going to be worth a ton of money, but the synergistic duos, light up the night, cards like that. What are some of the other ones like Star of the
Oh,
Show?
yeah.
The
Cranked
they
up.
just look a lot better. Cranked Up is the one that I don't like. It seems very, that's the acetate one. Seems very
Did you get a flammable?
bland. I did.
Yeah,
We did.
flammable.
Yeah,
We
those
like
are pretty cool.
we both like those.
I
Just
think it's my
really,
favorite looking card. I didn't get a numbered one in the box, but yeah. Again, I think the biggest, and I like acetate cards, so I think the Cranked Up would be the most disappointing. It's just very bland,
mm.
a little bit disappointing design. And again, at $120 a box, where you have Connor Bedard live rookies in it,
Yeah.
feels like a bargain. And
Yeah,
one
it
of the
does.
things too that I've heard from a number of card shops is they are basically sold out a trilogy.
Mm.
And I think it's because that $160 price point with, now there's been some big Bedard pulls out of there. There's been some
Yeah.
$4,000 sales, some $5,000 sales. I don't think that they're in synergy. I would be shocked what the highest sale ever for maybe $1,000, something like that. To me, it's not a.
Well, yeah, when I looked at the checklist, I think there's only like 8 Bedard autos, like cards. I don't know. That's not including all the parallel or the out of whatever's. I'm just saying 8 different types of cards with his auto. That's what I think it was. Don't quote me on that. Go look it up yourself if you're worried about it.
So again, for what it is, I think they did actually a pretty good
Yeah.
job. And it's going to be one of these products where a lot of people are just going to be out on. And this, what do we think? 25 to 30 releases a year now. You can't be in love with everything. So
No.
there's naturally going to be products that you're just going to say, nope, not for me. But if you do like synergy, I can't see you being disappointed with this release. Oh, the other ones that look great, Troy. Have you seen the? No, it's a retro, but it's the StarQuest ones, the blue and the greens.
I think I saw a picture.
I saw Devin. There was a Devin Levi that looked really a green on eBay right now. I think they want like $75 for it or something like that. That looks pretty amazing. I love those. I just pray that they don't run it into the ground now.
Yeah.
Where we have like 6 straight years of 40 different parallels of the 98 StarQuests.
Yeah.
So last thing I wanted to mention in new product releases is, now I could totally be making this up, but was there some sort of confusion or question around Series 1 pricing that you and Phil had?
Yes, and price or the questions that we had, but I even believe, where did I get in a discussion with someone? Maybe it was Phil, but he was saying like some shop owner was telling him,
That's
no,
not coming down.
Price is going to be huge and it's not going to come down. And I could have swore I knew 3 months ago that it was going to be pretty low. And then I started, crisis of confidence. I'm like, well, did I just make this up in my own head? But I could have swore we knew that. But then you kind of found the confirmation.
Yeah, I think the assertion was, you're right, that it's not going to come back down to normal, come back to earth. It's going to remain at Bedardian levels. So in the US right now at David Adams, Troy, you can pre-order 2024-25 Series 1 for $120 US.
Yep.
And I believe that's the same as like 2022-23, right?
That's what my brain remembers it, but who knows? I mean, if I was like huge, I'd be all over this. I might be all over this. I might buy some boxes right now.
It's regressing to the mean, as the kids say, right? Or at least
there you go.
Yeah,
like the Harvard kids, the smart kids.
Yeah, smart kids. Well, does it make you feel better? It does make
you
feel better.
Yes.
I was scratching my head when I was listening to it. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And Phil got some bad info from the card shop. The card shop was trying to like rake him through the
justify his charging.
Oh, no. This is $500 a box. All right, we're going to move on. It's time for a PWCC Weekly Preview. They are a Gongshow partner and sponsor. We are grateful for their support. The June premiere auction begins tonight. Do you like how like these big on these big auctions that they never give previews, that you have to kind of wait till it starts to find out what's in there?
It
I
doesn't
can't
bother
decide
me
if
because they run for like a month, right? Or they
it's 2
run a
weeks.
long time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, 2 weeks. So yeah, doesn't
So
bother me.
we all need to check back tonight and see which cards are in the auction. I love doing that because obviously they're crazy.
Yeah.
In addition, Troy, though, the PWCC Weekly is going on like we do each week. We're going to pick out our favorite cards, learn more about, discuss our feelings on them. We're going to get very emotional, I'm sure. Because you're known through the hobby, Troy, for having deep and many feelings. We're going to start with our favorite vintage cards.
All right.
So I picked a card that we all know and love, a 1979 OPG Wayne Gretzky PSA 2. I picked it because it has the exceptional IPO rating from PWCC, put in the top 15% of all PSA 2 copies. And I'm actually like been thinking, do I want to make a play on this card? This is the first time ever. Not that I've always wanted a Wayne Gretzky, but I've never like realistically thought, would I, should I, could I put a bid on this card?
Interesting.
Now, that being said, to talk about it on our show and why I like it so much is stupid. So I probably won't at this point, but it's a very, very strong copy for PSA 2, in my opinion. We'll go through that. And at PSA 2, it's in somewhat of an affordable price range for me at the moment, of course, with the kid going to college in the fall. I had breaking news, Troy. Do you got the button bar for breaking news? Can we do breaking news on there? Is that actually the button bar? Or is that the
I have
software?
Slowly been learning the button bar, but I was trying to test out earlier this show when we were offline, trying to make it work, and it wasn't. But I figured out a way to do it anyways.
Wait, was that the real button bar?
No, it was not. It was the file from the real button bar, but I had to do it in StreamYard. But I think I know. That's why I was talking about hotkeys and stuff. I think I know where I made my mistake.
Okay, well, breaking news, Troy. College is freaking expensive. It's getting out of hand.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, I have sticker shock. So for the foreseeable future, I'm definitely going to be on the bargain hunter when it comes to cards like this. And you can find very, very nice low-grade Gretzky rookies that I think can be good deals. There's 865 PSA 2s for the 1979 OPG Gretzky. Top 15% designation from PWCC puts it, in their opinion, in the top 130 of the 865 PSA 2s. I think the best attribute of this card for PSA 2, the centering, very, very nice, huh? Fantastic. Feels like almost perfect left to right. Yeah. Maybe a little bit off top to bottom, like it's a little narrow on the bottom. But again, you have to judge this on like the PSA 2 scale, right? We're not judging this like a PSA 10.
Here we go.
Registration's also really good for a PSA 2. Not perfect. The yellow plate, I think, is a little bit off.
Yeah, you can see it on the oil job.
Not bad, though. I mean, it's seen way worse.
Yeah, seen way worse.
The biggest issue on the cards, the corners all have wear. Upper right, I think, has the most, is the worst corner of the four, but not horrible. Again, I mean, it doesn't make me hate the card or anything like that. And my appreciation for a card like this, Gretzky PSA 2, I think Troy shows how my understanding and growing experience in the hobby is evolving my tastes and habits a little bit. So a couple years ago, I don't think I would have considered in a million years buying a PSA 2 anything. I was kind of a label snob, probably, to be honest. You know, the PSA 10 sort of is such a pervasive thing in all sports cards that a 2 would have just seemed, I don't know, just not of interest to me, right? Like it's like a junk card or something like that, maybe. And what I've learned is that, especially with vintage, you have to focus more on the card than the grade. Yeah. And do your own evaluation of the card. There can be a lot of very nice PSA 2s, like I think this one is, Troy, and there can be terrible PSA 6s.
Yes.
Like we talked about it again on last show, but probably like my favorite part of doing the weekly PWCC watch party with Jeremy Lee on Sports Cards Live is back in October, there was a Steve Yzerman rookie PSA 10 that sold at that auction. And the card was horrible. And we, for like 45 straight minutes, ripped
telling
the
everyone
card.
not to buy it.
Yeah, no, Jeremy was like, do not buy this card. It is so bad. It was a PSA 10, like that they were like drunk or high when they were grading that card. It was just awful. Right. And so with vintage cards, especially, you can't just look at the number. And I think that the biggest consideration for me now is eye appeal. Like I really evaluate, and the number to me kind of gives me sort of the price range, because people will buy based on what that number is, right?
Yes.
And so it's like I know like sort of like band of value it is, but first and foremost, I want a card that has very, very strong eye appeal. And when I look at this card, like if you put your hand over the label and you just look at the card, you don't think PSA 2, do you?
Yeah, no.
How is this a 2?
I don't know, maybe because the Oiler is way like the registration there, they just immediately saw that and we're like, nah, whatever.
Well, the last sale of a 1979 OPG Gretzky PSA 2 is $660 on May 20th. All-time high is $2,200 from January 2021. That was like the apex of the Gretzky market.
Yes.
There's a lot of huge sales then. And the past year, though, the range has been like, and this is like on PSA 2s, 380 on the low end to 880 on the high end. So, and that's the other thing too. When you get into these lower grades where the pop count is high, based on condition, you're going to see a lot of, you can't just go off last comp. You have to look at, because a card, here's where the whole comp thing is going to really bite somebody on the butt. This card is so nice. I'm pretty sure it's going to sell for a good number.
Yeah.
Now, a hot mess of a PSA 2 might show up on eBay and somebody will way overpay for it because they don't understand that there's really good PSA 2s and there's terrible PSA 2s. And you can't just look at that comp. You have to kind of do your evaluation. Okay, if there's 865 of these, where does this one fall, in my opinion, on that, that quality? Is it a high 2, or average 2, or a low 2 sort of thing? I don't know. Is that kind of how you are starting to look at these too?
Oh, for sure. Like total change of how I used to look at this stuff. I was like you, the grade is all that mattered. I would never look at a PSA 2 in my life. But now, like you said, this one, I am curious to see what this goes for. And because I was thinking to myself, well, what if someone bought this and cracked it? I don't know what PSA 3s go for, but maybe they could jump up a grade or two.
Yeah, I think I would be happy owning this card with the 2 grade. I don't know if personally, if I bought it, I would PC it and I would just keep it probably. You got a current bid?
$460.
Yeah, so there's a good chance this goes for even 1,000 or more, but we'll see. Oh, you got the next vintage card.
All right, here we go. 1965. Everyone's favorite set, the Coca-Cola hockey. It's Bill Gadsby, perforated PSA 8, Josh.
The great Bill Gadsby?
Yeah, I thought that was my first thing was too. And then I tied it into Minnesota because F. Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote it, is from Minnesota. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Coca-Cola cards. I knew nothing about Coca-Cola cards. I don't even know if I've seen them, but I was like, well, I like this. And the guy I didn't know anything about, Bill Gadsby, more on that in a bit. And I was like, well, I'm going to do him. So that's what I landed on. So 1965 Coca-Cola hockey from Bobby Burrell's Vintage Hockey Collector book. We got to get him on the show. I need to know if this is going to be reprinted. We've had people ask us if we know if it's being reprinted. I don't know if he's ever said or if he's even working. Does he think he might be working on a new one? Maybe?
He was working on an app. Didn't he say something like that?
That's right. He was working on an app or something.
We got to check that out too.
We got to get him on the show. All right. So by submitting 10 cork liners with the same team name under the cross stick cap design, one would receive the corresponding team set of 18 attached perforated cards. And if you got Bobby's Burrell book, he actually shows the picture. It's like the top of the bottle cap, and there's a cork lining it, and it says a team name on it. So you had to get 18 of those. Yeah, you had to get 18 of those and send it in. So each card with the player's stats on the back measured 2 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches, made of thick paper stock. And on the end of each strip of the cards was a detachable mail-in form to purchase a 50-cent album to hold all 108 cards, kind of like Tim Hortons that we hear about. It has been found that some scarce promotional advertising back variations on the Toronto Maple Leaf cards offering retailers material to advertise this promotion. I think that's pretty neat, where it's like you find out later that they made these random special ones that no one knew about. It to me, I equate that in the video game world of people finding secrets in games 20 years after release that no one knew about. The developers didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that stuff happens. So that's a little bit about Coca-Cola. Now let's look at this card. It's a PSA 8. Josh, what jumps out at you right away when you look at this card?
I couldn't buy this card for this reason.
I had to say it. And I was just laughing because I'm like, oh, it's clockwise tilt. No, this is just the whole card is out of where it's supposed to be in the holder. And it isn't. I called it. It's not square. It's not squared up in the holder. I don't know what you call it. So
I believe the official word is kittywampus.
Kittywampus. So I put in my notes, just be aware of that if you don't notice that, but it is definitely a candidate that I would, if I did buy this card, I'd be like going back to PSA and be like, can I get this reholstered or reholdered?
Did they even try to put it in the right holder?
It's so weird because look at it. It doesn't look like this is the right size for it. It just, something seems off, but
it's terrible, man.
It's a PSA 8, but I'll say this too. It doesn't look like it affected. Like, I don't think it's been banging around in there. So that it's got that going for it. You know, the condition still looks very good. And you can obviously see it has the perforated sides. This always reminds me of the Sports Illustrated for kids because that's what we grew up with. And we had the cards in there that's now sell for crazy amounts if you have the right ones. And it's black and white, obviously. Edges on top and bottom look really nice. Perforations, you can see if you zoom in. There's some, I don't know, hanging chads, I guess, if we want to use the political term from when the ballots were all messed up.
Well,
centering is just slightly off left to right and top to bottom a little bit, but not a lot. And so overall, card looks in great shape. So then I was like, oh, Bill Gadsby, we got to learn about him. I never heard about him. So defenseman, played 20 NHL seasons with the Blackhawks, Rangers, and the Red Wings. Hall of Famer, 3-time first-team NHL All-Star, 4-time second-team NHL All-Star, 130 goals, 438 assists, 568 points, and 1,248 games played. Now, in 1952, Josh Gadsby contracted polio, spent 3 weeks in the hospital, but then resumed his hockey career. That's what a hockey player does. They get polio and they're right back out there. Now, another fact, and this is where I started getting a little bit worried. I was like, uh-oh. We've talked about this guy. I know we have, and I just forgot. So in 1939, Gadsby was traveling with his mother on the passenger liner Athenia when it was hit by a torpedo fired by a German U-boat and sank. Gadsby and his mother spent hours in a lifeboat before being rescued. That's how bad we are. We don't remember our show. I've talked about him. I know that fact. I've read that before on the show.
That is nutty, though. That is, he basically was like Rose and Leo in Titanic.
Yeah, she gave him a piece of the door, right? Or whatever she was on, where people do the analysis. He could have fit on there.
And she had like a big like ruby on her neck, his mom or something like that. I don't
know. When he retired, Gadsby was the NHL career leading scorer for defensemen. I always thought that was pretty cool. All right. Last sale of a PSA 8 copy of this card I could find was a sale on August 29th of 2021 for $9.90 US via eBay and verified in Terapeak. Now, a PSA 9 copy of this card did sell this year on April 4th for $60 US via eBay, verified in Terapeak. Current bid, $7 US. And I will say there are a lot of these Coca-Cola cards in the PWCC. So go out there if you've always been interested in them or you have a collection and need to add some. There's a lot out there.
Why are they so cheap?
I think it's more of the player. There's some. I think there's a Bobby Hall in there if I remember right. That I think was 3 figures. I think. I know that there's definitely some bigger players.
His boat was sunk by a German U-boat.
Yeah, and he got polio. Yeah.
a lot of these vintage guys have just crazy stories.
I know. Different
That's
time, man.
it's such good content for us and interesting to learn about. So love doing that. The one thing though about these cards that I think about is how would you know he's a hockey player?
I know.
It could easily be a football card too, right?
If I remember, I think the back says it, but yeah, like you said,
okay.
This looks like a Polaroid photo, basically.
Okay, so the last vintage card.
Yes.
I'm an idiot because well, I love the card. It's really cool, and I wanted to talk about it. But the name, I just have like set myself up for to get destroyed. So it's a 1906 chocolate.
I like chocolate.
What? How do I say this?
Maurice.
1906 chocolate Maurice. I love too how instead of just like butchering a name one time, we try to find every which way possible to say a name wrong, so we could say it wrong like 17
and I'm convinced we never said it right. So
no,
our French connections have to write in or either message us and let us know how.
Oh, we're gonna get videos very early tomorrow morning. 1906. I think chocolat is. I think that's close. I like saying that, by the way. Chocolat.
Yeah. Chocolat.
And then Mary say something hockey PSA 3.5. So this I had to learn about this card, right? Because it predates by 4 years what's considered the first real or official set of hockey cards, which of course would be the 1910 C56 set. So this card here is 118 years old.
Cheapers.
Chocolat Maurice is or was, I don't know which one it is, but is or was a French chocolate manufacturer. As a promotional item, they inserted sports-themed trading cards into their chocolate products in 1906. The first 6 cards representing 6 different sports were in Serie 1. It must be like Series 1. So here's the checklist, Troy.
Okay.
Hockey is number 1, of course. Nice. Why wouldn't it be? Then polo.
Yeah.
Golf. Croquet. Tennis. And the last card in this set is football, but not NFL football, like it's soccer.
Soccer.
I think part of the idea of the ad campaign was to appeal to the athletic type, which is why the cards were made. That was kind of who they're going after. Now, the card seems like it's in relatively amazing shape for being 118 years old. It depicts
great.
Colors look awesome. It depicts a game where there's 6 players on the card. They are all very similarly dressed, but the main difference, if you've noticed, is the pants. It looks like it's a game between the black pants and the brown pants.
They look like knickers.
Yeah. Now, were you a bigger fan of the 1906 black pants or more of the brown pants kind of guy, Troy? Who are you rooting for here?
I'm going with the black pants because at least 2 of their players are in the action. Mm-hmm. Brown pants has 2 guys standing in the back just watching. Like, hey, I'm not getting in there.
Yeah, this is like Caitlin Clark's teammate says she's getting involved.
She gets beat up and they all watch.
Yeah. They kind of look like inmates a little bit, don't they?
A little bit.
Now, we were talking about Taryn Tkachuk, sister of Matthew and Brady, and how she's a field hockey player. The 1906 version of a hockey stick looked very similar to a field hockey stick.
Yes, it did. Mm-hmm.
The other very interesting thing is they're playing outdoors on a pond, it looks like. There's a net, so a very hockey-like looking net. No puck, though. A hockey ball. That was the thing, I guess, right? Hockey ball.
Well, wasn't hockey first played with, what am I going to say? Frozen excrement from an animal, if I remember right.
No. Really?
I thought that's what it was the first time they ever played it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Wow.
Could be wrong. It wouldn't surprise me.
You have a couple of big dogs. You should have them be hockey pucks for you in the winter.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I already mentioned the condition is really good for such an old card. The centering is like amazing on it. Surface print quality is really good. The colors are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little in the upper right corner. There's the kind of field hockey looking stick with the picture of the ball as well, which is kind of interesting. Would you ever want a card like this? Does this appeal to you?
Man, I was thinking about that. The more we talk about it, the more I kind of like it. And I guess I would like it. I guess I would, because I mean the age is and showing the sport of hockey 118 years ago. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a time capsule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Into the the very genesis or beginning of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Really. Now, here's like the crazy thing about this card. You want to talk about rare, Troy? I could only find one other secondary market sale for any copy of this card, graded or raw. And weirdly enough, it was a couple of weeks ago. It was a raw copy that sold for $27 on May 15th. And it was not nowhere even close to being as nice as this card. So it's not like they graded it quick and then sold it. So there's really no comparables whatsoever to base your bid on. And it kind of puts you like in this, I don't know, maybe freeing is a word I would use. Like you literally just should pay what you think it's worth. These comp things have become such a crutch to us. It's like, oh, this is worth $40 because that's what the comps say. So I don't know. Like a card like this, like what would you comfortably think that, given there's literally no comparatives.
Yeah.
What do you think something like this is worth?
See, I was for sure going to be like over $100. Got to be over $100. But then I saw your number, and then I'm like, in the current bid, I'm like, what? I'm like, that's pretty sad.
For under $100, who wouldn't want this?
Yeah. A current bid right now is $30. Now, obviously, that will probably go up, but holy cow. I mean, really under 500 to me is like a great deal. But
and the no comp thing, it means that there's a ton of these and people just think that there's no value, but that can't be the case, right?
I don't know, man.
It's got to be super rare.
It's got to be super rare.
Okay, we're going to move on to modern. So the first modern card I picked is the 2020 Regina Pats Connor Bedard team issue. It's a BGS 10 black label. Ooh. Remember, not just a black label. Remember, like a year and a half or so ago, how hot these cards were, and they were going very great. So I was curious to see, because I haven't checked the values of these in a long time, to see if there is still value to this card, and if there's still kind of like a chase for his pre-NHL stuff. And then, of course, you throw in that BGS 10 black label, which some people say is the sexiest label in the hobby. As time goes on, is this doing more for you or less for you?
I just don't. Black label? I still think it looks great. I'm not a grader, so it doesn't do that much for me, but it does look fantastic. It's the one thing Becca got right. The one thing they got right.
The premium you have to pay for it is crazy.
Yeah.
And where it's doing, I think, less for me personally is as I've developed more and more understanding of how very, very subjective grading is. Right. And so it's kind of on any given day sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. And I think at some point too, like when I was looking at this, it made me think that you and I should, for the show, should do some sort of like exploration on all these different scarcity mechanisms that the hobby has built, right? To try to manufacture scarcity, right? So you have like grading, and then you have the black label. You have the trillion parallels that come out now. And it made me think of like, what is the scarcity that really matters? And what's scarcity mechanisms don't? So kind of put a pin in that. And of course, what the BGS 10 black label does is give an element of, where you have a fairly common card, like in this case, and it makes it much more scarce because, of course, for this card, the BGS 10 black label is a pop of 1.
Yeah.
Now there's 5 regular BGS 10s. There's 51 BGS 9.5s. And then that's 60. Well, check this out. 63 total copies graded by Beckett. And what's 51 plus 5 plus, so 57 of the 63 are gem mint or better. Yep. The PSA 10 pop is 325 too, in case you're wondering. So, like, if you go not on your own examination or independent analysis, just by grade, this would be the top graded copy of this card in existence, right? Because there's no PSA equivalent to it. So, Troy, 11 months ago, not even a year ago, a PSA 10 copy of this card sold via eBay, verified in Terapeak for $4,160. That's a PSA 10. It was a pop 1 at the time. Now pop 325. Last sale of a PSA 10 was at the end of May for $479 US. So now we're about 1/8 of the value just about a year later.
Yeah.
So what seems to be happening to the pre-NHL cards for him, which is I think what we've all pretty much expected, is the values are going down, right? And I think because of that, it makes this particular card pretty hard to value. So again, you're going now, it's a pop 1 again, the black label. I don't think that's going to get to 50, right? There may be a couple more that you see down the road. But I think the bigger question is for these sort of, would you consider this like a novelty card? Is that a good way to put it to you?
Man, I don't even know what this is. I just am not a big pre-NHL card guy unless, man, even Pecorine, I don't want it. I mean, there's some stuff out there I don't even want it. It's just like, it just doesn't do anything for me.
So there's a time where these were investments, but at this point, I think it's more of a collector play.
Yeah, I want every Connor Bedard card, so I'm going to go for every Connor Bedard card.
And I don't know if I'd be quote unquote investing in anything that's pre-NHL for him. Well, look at the upper right corner.
I know it's off, isn't it? It's tilted.
Is that a pristine upper right corner?
Oh yeah, I see.
I don't know.
Man, unless it's the white from another circle.
It feels like there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Right. So again, now, just like with the 1906 chocolate whatever company hockey card where there's no comps, I think this one's is equally like, if I legitimately want this card, how do I figure out what this is worth, right? Because again, you go, the PSA 10 a year ago was $4,000. Now it's $500, but there's also no BGS 10 black labels. So do you think, in your mind, is the value of this exact card with the black label closer to the 4,000 that a PSA 10 sold for a year ago, or closer to the 500 that a PSA 10 at Pop 325 says?
It's got to be close to the 500, I would say, but I don't know how much. I don't know, man.
I would have guessed that this is $1,000 card, but I just saw your current bid, and that blows my mind.
So it is. It's $1,725 US is the current bid. I don't know where to put this.
Yeah. I think if you buy this card, you really have to like it, because I don't.
You got to have Jeremy talk about this one. I'm curious where he falls. If it's just like,
I don't think he would like it. Yeah. And predicting anything Bedard is crazy, but I would not be confident that 5 years from now I could sell this card for more than it's going to cost today. All right, you got the next Monarch card.
I got the next one. That's a quick one. Whoa, zoomed in a little bit too big. All right, there you go. 2015 Upper Deck, the Cup, honorable numbers. Nathan McKinnon, patch auto out of 29, NBA authenticated. So this one's raw. So I made this one short because we've talked about honorable numbers a lot. We've actually talked about McKinnon a lot. I don't know what else we can say to change anyone's mind or convince them that these are not one of the coolest cards in the hobby. And McKinnon's one of the best players in the hobby. It's just a really nice card. Plus, it's raw, so there's no slab nonsense. We don't have to look at the slab. There is none. It's got the NBA authentication. It looks great. It's hand numbered, which Josh loves.
Love it.
Game used memorabilia, each being 3 colors.
Love it.
Here's what I don't get. Maybe that's Mitch. Is this 2 patches, 2 pieces, or is it 1 piece, or what?
I think it's 2 patches.
2 patches. Okay. So again,
I don't know how I feel about it is technically 3 colors, but in my mind, it's kind of a 2 color. If the silver were the maroon,
gotcha.
To me, that would increase the value of this card.
Yeah. Plus, this auto looks great. Very clean. No, man, you can't see the pen coming up at all. Looks fantastic. So this is a card that I would like because it's raw. It's got an autograph that looks awesome, and Josh likes the hand numbered, so I can show him that, and he'd like it too.
Yeah, I'd get jealous.
Plus, McKinnon, one of the best players in the game. 335 goals, 564 assists for 899 points, 791 games played. So he'll hit.
Are those Stamkos stats there or no?
I hope not, man. As long as it's not over 500 goals, I know it's not Stamkos. McKinnon, one-time Cup winner, Calder winner, one-time Lady Bang winner, two-time NHL second All-Star team selection, five-time All-Star game selection. Last sale I could find was on June 15th of 2023 for $271. My God, that seems criminally low. Good job, whoever got that. Current bid on this is $350.
Just not much of a McKinnon market.
Nope.
I don't know if there ever will be at this point.
I know it's hard because it's like, what do you need him to do? He's got the cup. He's just a fantastic player.
He could very well be the Hart Trophy winner this year.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would be surprised by that.
He's buddies with Crosby, so
buddies with Sid. Okay, last card, another kind of quickie. This card is like
this is a fever dream. This is the definition of a fever dream right here.
It's a 1999 Ultimate Victory Wayne Gretzky, a hockey legacy out of 100 PSA 8. I had never seen this card before.
What's the parallel? It says parallel. What's that?
This is a parallel. It's out of 100.
Oh, so they just called it straight up parallel. They didn't have a name.
Yeah,
I'm so used to like
checklist.
Emerald green or whatever.
Fuchsia Magic.
There you go.
Out of 70,000.
It's the simpler time back then.
Well, we've seen like the Ultimate Victory branding on like Expo cards. I never knew Expo it was actually an actual set. I mean, it makes sense that it was, but this is like the first. I think this is the first like real Ultimate Victory card I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah.
The other thing that really stands out to me is Wayne like 13 in this photo, or this had to be taken like WHA Oilers. Zoom in really quick on his face and you'll see what I'm saying. I mean, he is so young.
Yeah, and I wonder because the jersey has a blue drop. Is that what?
Yeah, that's what it has.
Yeah.
But he's very, very young regardless. It's
his rookie card. His rookie card's is the WHA version, right? Of the Oilers.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, you know how it's got the 1979 OPG tops Gordie Howe, where he's like 190,000 years old.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's using his stick as a cane on the ice. A lot of people think that the Gretzky rookie photo and that Howe photo are from the same game.
Interesting.
When the Oilers were playing the Whalers.
Yeah, so this was, I think, the WHA version. What looks
it
like
is a
this
WHA.
one looks like that. Orange with the blue drop. Interesting.
Yeah. That's a cool looking card. And there's so many cards from the 90s that it's like a whole hobby in of itself. Now, it's a PSA 8. The centering is off a little bit. It's got like the weird sort of, what kind of like foiling or what?
I call it the bubble wave foiling.
It's a very technical term, Troy. This is not the technical of a show. PSA pop is 1 at 8. There's one graded higher. Only 3 have been graded by PSA. I don't know. I just think it's kind of a cool oddball Gretzky card that I might bid on. It's numbered out of 100, so it's going to be pretty scarce. No idea how many more of these are laying around anywhere. I've certainly never seen this card. I can't imagine you have, but I don't know. Is something like this strike your fancy or not really?
Not really, but it's cool. I can appreciate it.
You got a current bid?
$42.
All right, there we go. All right, so for all these cards and all the other ones available on the PWCC Weekly Auction, head to pwccmarketplace.com. We're going to end the show, Troy, with personal pickups. What do you got this week?
Nothing this week. Waiting for purchases to show up. I got a bunch of cards coming. I have one card that is slowly making its way, Josh. It's been 3 weeks now. It came from Canada. It's on its 8th distribution center that it's been through. It's been through 5 distribution centers in California, which I didn't even know they had that many. But it's now supposed to be in St. Paul. So we'll see where it ends up next. If it actually makes its way to me or decides to go out to the East Coast or something.
Well, I went like ComC bananas, and I blame you for it.
There we go.
Have you noticed this about ComC, just to complain about their shipping for a minute? So when you go to ship the cards to you, they give you like 3 options, right? They give you a very cheap like economy option.
Okay.
But they're not expected to get to you till like
8 weeks or something.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
Then they give you like the $6 or $8 option, which is like standard or whatever.
Yeah.
And that gets you in like a week, right? So of course you're gonna spend the $4 extra
They
to
know
go
what you're
from
doing.
7 months to a week, right? Then they have like the 2-day option, which is like crazy, like $80 or something like that. So yeah, I just think that they just got to do away with their economy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to ship cards that come like some like random, like when you're out of the hobby, it's taken so long.
It finally showed up.
So yeah, I went a little hog wild here on ComC.
Okay.
We'll try to go through this pretty quickly. I got this 2021 Fleer Ultra Draisaitl, who of course we know is only good because of Connor McDavid. I think it actually says that on the back of the card, if I remember correctly. But the Platinum Medallion Sapphire out of 25 Troy.
Ooh, sexy.
Yeah. Do you have the oohs and ahs in the button bar yet? Ooh, you, Troy.
Now, listen to it again. Oh my god! Right at the end, he's like, "Ooh, oh my god!"
I don't think that really came through on like the main audio.
I don't know. It was really low. I apologize. I don't know how to turn it up, but
you're getting better. You're making. See, this button bar is magical, Troy. Our ratings are going to be so high. One little, like, as I bought a lot of these, I do want to point out, I guess a tip of the trade, Troy, is when you buy these cards, you have to look, like, can you zoom in on the Leon's name there, the Leon Draisaitl?
Oh, right. You mean right below the ComC watermark that they ruin every card with? Yes, I can do that.
So on a number of these platinum medallions, there will be, like, I don't know if it's black foil they use for the name, but there'll be a lot of, you can often see a lot of chipping there.
Okay.
Which I think we're so conditioned on cards to look at the corners and edges that we sometimes forget to look at inside. And so one of the reasons why I got this is that his name is very complete. There are, you can easily find examples where it's like half of that, whatever the black stuff is gone.
Okay.
So pro tip for somebody who buys too many of these cards. Then I went like completely bananas.
Yeah, you went out the rails, man.
On the 2015 OBG Platinum Retros.
I feel like you were mad at all the ones I got in Montreal. And so you're like, watch this. I'm going to beat his record.
So I got the Denny Potvin Gold Rainbow out of 149.
Nice.
Very, very nice card. Got a Hank Zetterberg Gold Retro out of 129 as well. Or 149, sorry. Couldn't stop there, Troy. Had to go for the Jerome McGinley Gold Rainbow out of 149. Nice. Yeah. Then Maple Leafs legend Grant Fuhr Gold Rainbow out of 149.
I always have to do a double take. It's like something just doesn't look right with him in a Toronto jersey.
Picked up the Cam Neely Gold Rainbow out of 149.
Love Cam Neely. Famous movie star in, what was he in? Dumb and Dumber.
Happy good one.
Is he Seabass?
Oh, yeah.
I think he's Seabass.
Okay. I don't know. You're looking it up.
I know. Yep, he was Seabass.
There we go. Next in Troy is PLD's Sugar Daddy Rob Blake. Gold Rainbow at 149. I like these Kings jerseys in these ones.
He's got bad hockey mouth / tongue in this one.
Yeah. Then I picked up a Phil Esposito Orange Rainbow out of 49. This is the orange. I just wanted to see what they look like. And Phil Esposito is like $10. Isn't that crazy? And then lastly, Troy, I got the regular rainbow Patrick Waugh. So you're on mute, by the way.
Mute. Hey, I'm on mute. His flapper in his face. I love that. Yeah.
So those are my pickups. Are you available to drop me off at ComC Rehab after the show?
Every day I get my daily summary. I sell stuff every day on that platform. Just
really but you're selling for like
cents,
like 6 rubles.
Like I think I've sold like it's up to like I did sell an auto of an EPAC like Marvel card I had, so I'm up to like $22. But I've also sold 60 some cards. So it's
that ComC like they charge like $5 or are you selling them not on ComC eBay, but you're selling them just to other ComC people?
Well, I'm on ePack, transferred them to ComC, and then I leave them up for sale on ComC. I don't do any of the eBay. I don't do eBay stuff, so it's just ComC people buying them, and there's no storage fees if they're under so much, like the value.
Do you accept? Do you allow offers? Like, are people like, I want to sell this for 10 cents?
Mine are so low. The autograph one, I did allow offers, but someone bought it for the price I asked for. The other stuff is so low, you can't even make an offer, I don't think.
You can get great deals on ComC. So if you're sometimes, other times I can't find anything, and then it seems to like come in batches, right? Where it's like this, where I went kind of bananas and bought a whole bunch of them, then had another round, which I'll talk about on Monday. But all right, man, we did it.
Yeah.
That's our show. If you like the episode, please leave a rating, review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, you want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description, on our podcast apps, within our YouTube as well, in our Instagram, TikTok profile. You can get a link on our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com.
Oh my God.
Oh, Troy.
There you go.
I've created a monster. I think I've created a monster. And then go to Patreon's website, patreon.com. Search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. We're on social media, Troy. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is the production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Have an awesome weekend? Yeah. That's I totally forget what day it is doing the show.
We're publishing Thursday.
Mm-hmm. We'll see you on Monday. We might have Phil come back on Monday and just hang out. Well, we'll see what happens. See you then.